stories that led to those things. And we want to, and we should be doing more.
My brother's keeper piece. I can remember at a very young age, seeing my grandmother being demeaned by my grandfather, her having to experience, the verbal abuse, and as if she was nothing because he was the breadwinner and he was the one who provided for everyone.
Disability and push out in schools. The conversation about push out today has been one in which girls have not figured prominently in either understanding what factors lead to pushing out and what the consequences of being a girl pushed out of school might be.
In Philadelphia, and I had a student, her name was Tanya, and Tanya was the only Asian American student in our school. Our school was an all-black school. She was 16, she was in the 9th grade, she was an English language learner, she had a lot going on. So because of that, that manifested through her lack of attendance. So she would skip 9 days of school and she would come back on the 10th day. For our school policy in particular, if you skip 10 days, then your license would be kicked out. So the dean decided to set up a meeting with her mother, and we didn't have a translator. So we came to the meeting, we got nothing accomplished, and it ended up getting worse. Tanya's attendance got worse. So the dean decided that we would do a home visit, and as her case manager, I went along. And so of course you think, oh, students are skipping school, obviously they're partying or they're going to the mall, they're having fun. That was obviously not the case. When we got there, Tanya's mother invited us in, and she said, yeah, you can go upstairs. She's in her room. And when we got there, she was just laying on her bed. Her hair is disheveled. There were junk bags on the floor. It was just a hazardous space to be in. So we were asking, what's wrong? What's going on? The dean said, who's staying in this room with you? And she said, oh, my mother's boyfriend. So the dean ended up confronting the mother and saying, hey, she said that your boyfriend is staying in this room, what is going on? And she couldn't understand what we were saying. So again, nothing was accomplished. So we got back to the school and we reported it to the school counselor, who then reported it to DHS. And long story short, DHS said, we couldn't find the right address, so we couldn't do a home visit. So they never visited her, even though abuse was likely happening. And eventually the school kicked her out. So even though we knew what was going on at home, the school still kicked her out. And interestingly enough, Tanya came back a few months later and tried to re-enroll in the school, and they told her no. So it just goes to show that our school wasn't prepared. We didn't have experienced teachers. As someone who did come through an alternative teaching program, not being prepared to deal with these issues, it just goes to show the barriers and difficulties that girls of color face in Philadelphia.
Hi everyone, my name is Olivia Williams, and I am one of many youth who suffered from the school stability pipeline.
I had your trauma resolved. That trauma that you experienced in our court here of human trafficking victims, 99% of them have been victims of sexual abuse. It's one of the highest risk factors that causes young girls to end up being victims of human trafficking. And nobody heard their stories before. And they ended up getting arrested. At one point, thank God now it doesn't exist, but they were being arrested as prostitutes. How young ladies can be arrested as prostitutes at 12, 13, 14 years old. No young lady wakes up and says, I want to prostitute myself today. I want to be a prostitute. No young lady wakes up and says that. It is all a manifestation of the trauma caused by negative influences and experiences, with sexual assault being number one. So we as a court system, in order to better understand how to serve you and to make sure we are not over-penalizing you for things that you did not cause, I need to understand from you how we can listen better, how we can hear better, what is it that you need us to do to be able to understand, or what you can give us for ideas of how we can open our ears more so that we can hear from you truly, so that we can render decisions that are fair and just.
So DHS attempted to visit and make a house visit and try and intervene to help, but they couldn't find the address. So there was, so they didn't try again. There was no follow-up. If not, did they tell you why? I mean, it's a little astounding that nobody cared about the potential of what this girl had or what she could do. And one of the things that I think is so important today is that all of the systematic problems that we're talking about have names and faces associated with them. And it's our job as adults in society to provide youth with every opportunity possible to succeed. And it seems like it was, if I'm understanding right, that there was just these adults that decided to just not care.
This is for Dawn's Place. It's an organization that raises awareness about human trafficking. A bunch of people.
Your different mentalities. So I do see hope. I see hope, and that's all coming together and understanding each other and learning to respect